sad case for Africa, because we know that Africa, except one or two countries, the whole continent, all 54 of them, was set up in a way that they were all colonized by somebody, except Ethiopia and Liberia was until the U.S. bought a big chunk of Liberia, and they sent Negroes from here back there. Do you know where you find the most exact plantation houses and big mansions at? All along the coast of Liberia. Because the Negro left here and he built those houses exactly. Like, so if you want to go and see antebellum period, forget about the South, go to Liberia right now. If they didn't rot and fall down, because the Negroes left here and went back there. And what did they do? Some of the pictures from the 70s and 80s about the people with Oliver so-and-so, the Negroes from here went back there and did the Africans like Boss Man did us here. Yes, he did, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, he sure did. The Negroes here, remember, he goes back with superior technology. He goes back here with it because he done built everything for the white man. So when he goes back there, he has some ideas about, at that time, 1843s, 1847s, and all that period, the Liberians, the people of Liberia, they're just like the rest of Africa, you know, and they don't have the same road systems, transportation systems, and all that other. So Liberia was recolonized or counter-colonized by Africans from here. What does it say about, does it say anything about?
No, when I was looking at, I remember somebody talking about how right over there on Division Avenue, it's supposed to be a history, a connection of Liberia with that area over there. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Okay. Now, you have to remember, do you remember when we were saying that Allama Zakzaki, his position was, I think that his second in command had Musa was in his name too somewhere. So we was on the bus together going to Qom, and we talking all the time, and we was all sitting together, you know, not birds of a feather, but Africans kind of will look up, hey, y'all, what's going on? Where you from? Oh, da, da, da. So I'm riding with Zakzaki's second in command. I am sure he was martyred a few years ago. I'm sure he was. So, but I'm saying, hey, I was insinuating that since what I'm seeing is, I'm saying his crew, brothers and sisters, when I'm getting off the plane, is some of them going to Qom. When everything, you can see that there's a whole transfer of them. When I'm coming back, there's a lot of them getting on the plane. They're in the airport getting on the plane because the first stop will be Doha and Al Qatariya Airlines. Okay, so we're in contact all the time. So I says, yeah. So the Iranians is hooking y'all up a little bit, huh? They kind of getting. He said, no, we take care of all this ourselves. I said, oh, okay. Now that was 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Yeah, that's Allama Zakzaki. That's when he's speaking with, we're at a program. And that's Imam Khomeini's grandson. So, now, if you take this article here, was printed in 16 newspapers. You can see it right. American Shiites reached crossroads. You can, and then they have a picture of yours truly. So that was around 2009 or something like that. And right after that, it was printed in 16 newspapers in the U.S. So all of us, not all of a sudden, but as time went on, these are the Indian, Indo-Pakistani, Shias. So after a while, you notice I don't go to their programs either. I don't. And the white man know what he's doing. So he puts my picture, and they talk about their program almost like we're running the show. You see what I mean? So they already know, okay, they're Shias. They talking about Shias, this, that, Shias, that. This nigga ain't no Shia. He's a Sunni. So now, all our kids love him too. He's the most popular speaker amongst, because for certain reasons. Not now. The same way the Iranians. What I'm making this point. Sometime, anybody with skill that knows the psychological makeup of other people can interject in the simplest way an element of racism that will cause whichever people it is that need to work together, they just throw one thing in there and they pop just like that. That's what happened. Okay, now this relates a lot to us. If you see, this is Mukhtar right here, right? This is a tattletale. Mukhtar got all these, you can see they're Latinos, they don't have no black police in none of the incidents that I have. You don't have black police that heard they said that nigga that when he was here, didn't nobody get killed. They kind of know, they talk amongst themselves. But this right here and the beating before, should it produce in me? Should produce a violent, experience. I should be one that, just like I had to tell some of the people on the video, you do not allow people to do that to you, right? Okay. Tribalism in Africa, fighting and killing each other. Once it starts, it don't. They had a thing that talked about the guns will be silent in 2020. He was saying guns is, and it was did about this time last. He said the guns will be silent in 2020 all over Africa. You go around Africa right now. Ethiopia and 2-3 more places is just on fire. Okay? That old thing of divide, conquer, and rule. The most harmful thing about Africa is that, number one, the leadership, like all over the world, is the most important factor. The leadership factor. The next thing is peace and stability. Because if farmers gonna get shot out there in the field, right? Or it's gonna be some rebels moving through his farm, he ain't gonna grow nothing. He's just not gonna grow nothing. If the markets are full of food, the women are not going to the market because they could get shot, raped, killed, or anything. And then especially with the way Africans treat each other. My study of one of the great books that I use about Sheikh Uthman Danfodio and others, in those, even the modern writers, one of my best friends, Ahmed Kano from the University in Nigeria, he wrote this good book. I got a good book on Sheikh Uthman Danfodio. In fact, some of the writings that I wrote before, it came almost word for word out of that, but I kind of rearranged it a little. But they refer to different tribes as different races. We see each other as black. They don't see each other. What is your linguistic crew? I was in Malawi and I asked this, it was 50 years ago. No, it was more like on my second go round when I was traveling in Africa later on, second or third go round. So I was going through Malawi and they had an old time dictator there, used to wear hamburger all the time. Hastings Banda. He had been there since the founding fathers. So you know where you're always talking to the girls. So in the airport, yeah, da-da-da-da, what do you guys do here? What do you produce? And da-da-da-da. And it gets on to, how many groups do you have here? Says, well, we have 72 different languages. So you have 72 languages? But they all kind of the same, aren't they? You can understand it, like desk, or chair, or airplane, and one of the languages is almost the same. And says, no, they're totally different languages. That's good God Almighty. Hey, man, you technically, and that's not just. Some countries have 152. He was naming. Some countries have 152 languages, but to say everybody got 30 or 40 different languages, although you might have a main group, you may Sutu and Itswana in Africa, in South Africa and what have you. But the vision of Africa and Africans has affected the world. And it's kind of clear that the world has a guilt complex. And all you got to do is say boo, and you can scare people. You know what I mean? You can scare people away from blacks. Remember clearly, even when we was at the program downtown over there, they was having a program where they had a big fanfare table for Allama Zakzaki. That was just to play around. They haven't did, they didn't do nothing technically for him. The other thing was, here's a guy that was solving a lot of Nigeria's problems. Number one, on Quds Day, he would have the priests and all the other ones come, and he was getting that hooked up. The other thing is, the Islamic movement in Nigeria is mostly Shias. Okay, to go from 0 to 180 miles an hour in a quarter of a mile is pretty fast. In other words, to go from all Sunnis, when we first met and became friends, he was Allama Zakzaki. Yeah, he was a Nigerian. Where Shias come from in Nigeria? No, he became Shia. After he studied and studied, even in the early days when the first 20 years when we spoke at programs, he was still a Sunni. Then the government came to him. In fact, part of what he does now, his structure, is teaching according to Shehu Uthman Danfodio. He called them Fudiyas, because Uthman Ibn Fudi is his name, not Danfodio. So he called his study circles Fudiyas, after Uthman Danfodio. So I'm just kind of imagining, say he's 75% Shia now, and a little bit of Sunnism hanging around. This is the feeling I get. But the point is, remember the suggestion we made? Is if they wanted to bring all of Africa to Shiism, all they got to do with the African mentality, right, and that light-skinned mentality, right, nobody come to do nothing for him, nobody come to help him. If they help him, and I told them, I think they sent Muhammad Al-Asi over there, I don't know. They did, they sent him there. I told them, you send me over there, and you send a few people, say, just don't sweat it, just $5 or $10 million, finished. And have them driving a few tractors, making a few loads, doing a little something. The Iranian-looking people and the Indian-looking people. And they don't say nothing. You let me do the talking. Who are those people? Oh, those are your brothers. And da-da-da-da-da. They happen to be Alul Bayt, no big deal. Who's Alul Bayt? Well, just da-da-da-da-da, right? I'm telling them, you just let me do it. That's why on all the stuff that's been happening to them in the last few years, I went out to the IEC and I talked to one of our friends. I said, have you ever known me to say anything incorrect about Iran or anything else? I said, of course not. I said, well, talk to the boss down there. He works over here. You talk to the boss. And I talked to him because when they were around me, they was this guy here they really, I don't even think it was putting on a show. They really, was into Imam Musa. So I told them when, they start messing up and the U.S. pulled out of the treaty, I said, you send me over there and I'll take care of it. In other words, I know what to tell. I'm an innocent bystander, and I'll tell the hardliners, supposed to be our friends, and the others, this is the benefits of that JPCOA, whatever it is. That they're not stupid. This is some of the benefits of it. Because, they came under plenty of pressure. Because everybody told them, you can't trust them guys. Oh, and they turned the guy to an idiot. Not an idiot, but you would think he was running for president of the United States, not of Iran. Anyway, I told them that. They didn't pay attention. And I also told them, you send me over there and do a little help. That's all you got to do. I said the African continent will be Shias, because Nigeria is the largest country. Nigerians float around all over the place. I said, you send me over there and it'll be fine. I'll take care of it for you. I mean, it's just a volunteer thing, You don't have to pay me nothing to do nothing. They didn't do it. Well, you can see they didn't do it. Why they didn't do it? If they got Shia ulama now, if Qom is probably 25% Negroes now, and out of them, probably 80% of them are the police, probably. Because, like some of the guys in Qom, I'm at these big programs and they, oh, you African. And I remember the earlier days, and these guys right here, I said, well, I'll be doggone. A little prissly, funny acting, Yeah, I mean, see, remember, they're spending a lot of money on Africa. It's sending a lot of people to home.